This is the story of how we created a successful US clothing brand from Thailand and Vietnam with only a $2,000 investment. Hi, my name is Lily and I'm an American expat living in Koh Samui, Thailand with my Thai husband since 2013, and this is my mom.
Hi.
Susan. Say hi, Susan.
Hello.
And we're gonna talk today about how we created our clothing line, Grace and Joy. So I'm gonna first start with how it all started. I was living in New Orleans and I had been apprenticing with a Vietnamese acupuncturist, and I got the opportunity to go on a volunteer trip to Vietnam with him for 1 month, and we traveled through Vietnam from the south through the DMZ zone to the north, and we were apprenticing with the blind at blind centers, teaching the blind how to do acupuncture. When the trip ended, I went through Cambodia and into Thailand, where I arrived on the island of Koh Samui. I walked down the beach my first day there, and I walked into a little beach bar where I met my Thai husband, Wat. He asked me out to dinner, and of course I said yes, because I love to eat. And the rest is history. We've been together ever since. So when I went back to the US, I told my mom that I had an idea that we could start an import business, buying products in Asia, in Thailand, Vietnam, and selling them in the US. And you were so excited, right?
I was excited. I like business.
Because before, we had always been in the restaurant business. We'd heard that, the restaurant business is more difficult, so we were just like, why not?
Well, I owned a restaurant at a very young age. I worked really, really hard. I owned a French cafe called Cafe Normandy, and Lily owned a restaurant at a young age too. Her restaurant was Coquette in New Orleans. Lily came back to Thailand to be with Wat, and she had told me about him, and I said, well, follow your heart. And she started looking around for products to buy that we could put on a website, but she was like not quite sure what to get. She said, Mom, you need to come and help me buy. And I went, okay.
And you were really excited to come because you wanted to check it out, make sure
I
was okay,
Wat.
meet Wat. So we met her in Bangkok. We picked her up from the airport.
And he was very nice.
And you did all of the planning as far as where we were going to stay. And you chose Pratunam.
Pratunam, because I looked up wholesale shopping in Bangkok and Pratunam came up. Now, we didn't really have a whole lot of money. My husband was not too enthusiastic. He wasn't against it, but he was like, oh my goodness, now what's she going to do?
So we each had $1,000. And we said, okay, we're going to do our first buying trip. And we went to Indra Square, Shopping
first
Center.
We stayed at the Shanghai Inn, which was only $20 a night.
I think less than that.
It was cheap.
500 baht a night. And then we walked through all the markets. We're completely overwhelmed, but we managed to find some really nice things in that
the very first
buying.
day. Bangkok is a massive city of wholesale shopping. You can't buy on your first day. You just got to walk and wander, and then you still.
And then finally we found some stuff. We went to Chatuchak. We walked through there. Wat had never been there, but he assisted us and helped us bargain as well. And then we got back to Koh Samui. Wat had the beach bar, and we hauled all of our products to his beach bar, and then we had bought a mannequin as well, and we put the mannequin up, and we took photos of the clothes, uploaded those photos to the BigCommerce website.
We did the website ourselves.
And so we're like, okay, we have our website started, we have our products. Then you went back to the US.
I went back to the US and I thought, I have all this product, not a massive amount, but I had a good bit of product. And I went, I'm going to have a home party and sell it to my friends. And I did. And I sold at least 50 or 60% of it.
She gave them free Mai Tais and called it
Taiwan on. Hey, my husband thought of that. That was clever.
And so everybody got drunk and bought everything, right?
Well, they didn't buy everything, but they bought a lot. And then I had
with the leftover products.
I had just enough left over to open a little store. I decided, this is too hard to sell online. I don't know. I'm not a technology person.
A very small store with a small rent.
So we had this little tiny store of about 400 square feet, and it did pretty well.
And then we got another opportunity to go to Vietnam again with the Vietnamese acupuncturist, Dr. Quang.
Yep, we went again.
So she came with me this time. And we went throughout Vietnam, and we ended up arriving in Hue, Vietnam, the central area. And that's where we met some or some local tailors and had our clothes handmade. We went to all the different tailor shops and we brought them samples and we asked them to make different ones.
Yep, and so we started within 3 or 4 months of opening our little store, of going right into handcrafting and designing our own clothes. We were able to do that because we had really good tailors and we had a good relationship with them. Within a year, we were actually going back to Vietnam twice a year. I was going.
Every couple of years.
Because I had to pick out fabric and I had my tailor
and
shop.
We would be digging through fabric. They would be taking us out to back alleys to these random little houses that were packed with fabric.
Now, when we say packed, 3 stories of fabric in a 12-foot wide
and it was
section.
So hot, no air conditioning.
But we found good fabric. And we didn't need a lot of it, not like now we need more, but we would get 30 yards or 20 yards of all this different stuff, and just the tailors would just sew like crazy. They're still sewing our clothes to this day.
Then we went to Bangkok later. After that, we found out how to do private labeling, how to have our labels sewn into our clothes, hand tags, everything
we
made
did
there.
all that within 1 year. We were already private labeling.
And then you found different tailors as well in Bangkok.
Yes, the bulk of our clothing are still sewn by Chot in central Vietnam by hand by her family, and they're 4th generation tailors. And then we have tailors in Bangkok that sew a small amount of clothes.
A few months after moving to Koh Samui, a building came up for rent. And Wat and I went to work renovating the building, and I turned that into a clothing shop. I had a yoga studio upstairs. And shortly after that, Wat's Beach Bar closed. So then he came helping me with the clothing business, and he and I would sell together. And on Maenam Walking Street, every Thursday night was a local market. The street would turn into a street market where vendors could sell, and Wat and I would sell our clothes out on Maenam Walking Street. And it was successful for a year or so, but then Wat and I got bored of selling clothes.
Her heart wasn't in the clothes.
I don't like selling clothes.
I do.
And it's really slow on Walking Street sometimes, so you just be sitting in there all day. So we decided to convert the shop into a restaurant. First we did half the storefront close and then half of a juice bar, cocktail bar, and then we just decided to turn it completely into a restaurant, and I shipped the clothes back to my mom.
And I sold them all.
And then she sold them all. And you started with this small store.
I started with a very small store, and then I moved to a bigger store, and about 18 months ago I moved to a very big store in Sandpoint. And then my daughter, a number of years ago, Chloe, who went to Parsons School of Design, she moved to Idaho, and we opened a store that she runs in Coeur d'Alene. So I've been blessed with these daughters who helped me.
And then she would come with us to Vietnam, and she would help us with the designs because she was really passionate about
and she's very creative. So she and I actually run the business together. And then I had another daughter, Marcy,
my older sister.
She moved to Idaho too, and she worked with us all of last year on social media and in the store, but she married. Now she's doing something else.
And the whole time we never really got into any debt because we just did little by little.
Yep. We have no debt. We just, every single year I'd manage our money very carefully, and if things are really tight, I would work more. We went very much step by step. We didn't take on too much, step by step.
When we first started our brand, we didn't really have a sealed in concept. What would you say? Well, it was named Santosha, and then after a few years, we decided to rebrand.
Santosha pigeonholed us into something that we really weren't. So we rebranded about 3 years ago. We just bravely did it, and our sales increased by maybe 30% at least when we rebranded.
And it's now Grace and Joy. Yeah. And that's what you have to do sometimes. You have to rebrand.
If something isn't working, don't be afraid. Say, we need to change.
Because I did the same thing with my restaurant. My first restaurant on Maenam Walking Street was Prava, and it was quite successful, but I kind of was stuck in this vegetarian, vegan niche, and I just needed to do something different. So we closed Prava, even though it's the same location, and we reopened it as Lilikoi, as a New Orleans bistro, but then COVID hit, and now I'm doing YouTube.
There's nobody on Koh Samui to keep anything going, but
who knows, I might reopen.
Yeah. What I want to say though about, like, if you wanted to come to Southeast Asia and do clothing or jewelry or anything, it's a very creative, people are very creative here. You can get very good bargains if you're not afraid. Don't be afraid of shipping internationally, because the duties and customs are handled for you by either DHL, FedEx Express, or UPS. They create the bill that you give them, all the info, which you'll see in a...
Just dive into it.
Just do it, and it's not
you'll
hard.
learn on the way, right?
You will. And the thing is, you have to have a platform to sell. If you're really good at technology and you feel confident that you can sell it online, you do that. We weren't that
but
good
it's
at
really
that.
hard to sell online. Having a physical store, there's a lot of advantages to that.
It's done very well for us, our physical stores, and we've gotten a lot of names and info from people because we do have 2 physical stores, and we do sell online now.
And our website is called Shop Grace and Joy, so you can go and check that out. And if you want to buy something, that would be amazing. You can use the code LILLY20, LILLY20,
and get 20%
off. This is a little bit different from my normal vlog videos that I do on this channel, but I thought this would be an interesting story to share with you, a background of why my mom is here and how she comes to Thailand and what we're doing here in Bangkok and in Thailand.
Also, I would say that if an opportunity comes your way, don't be afraid to take it. I was a stay-at-home mom, essentially. I was 50, at that time 55 or 56 years old. I don't know how old I was. And I had the support of my family to come and visit Lily and do this, but I didn't know one single thing about clothing. I didn't know anything about jewelry, and I just learned along the way. And we took our $2,000 that we had, and that is all we had. We had not a single penny more. And we took it and we turned it into a very successful business with hard work and vision.
It's all about buying and selling.
If
right?
it doesn't sell, get rid of it and get something else quick.
If it doesn't sell good, you put it on sale and then you try again. You know, you can't get defeated by a perfectionist attitude. And it's the same thing with this YouTube channel. When I first started, I didn't know what I was doing. The videos are very funny when I look back at them. But you just have to dive into it and just nip fear in the bud. Is that the right word?
That would be, but I will say one other thing. It's a lot of work. Don't underestimate that self-employed people, how hard we work.
And mentally, right?
Mentally,
just like
physically,
the stress of it.
I've worked many weeks, 80 hours a week, 80 on a regular basis. And it has taken its toll on me a little bit, but I've loved every minute of it, and I can't wait to get back into my stores.
Thank you all so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel for more content on expat life in Thailand.
โอเคฉันยอมรับในทุกการตัดสินใจและไม่ไปตัดสินใครฉันคงไม่ใช่สเปคที่แบบไปนมหน้าหรอกก็ฉันมันคนติดดินนิสัยก็ยังบ้าบอเธอก็พูดขึ้นมาว่าเบื่อผู้ชายอย่างเราโอ้ยและเธอก็ไปกับเขาทิ้งไว้เพียงความหลังที่มันยังฝังแทงใจคืนนี้ฉันกินแต่เหล้าเลยอยากจะเมาให้